we know that there is no evidence to prevent using the computer. So this seems to be answering a different question. Yeah? Should we prevent children from using the computer? So if we change the question to should we prevent children from using the computer, it's actually a very good conclusion. Should we prevent children from using the computer? There is no evidence to prevent using the computer. So it's clear, no, we shouldn't. But we must control it. The parents must control it. So you can see that their conclusion does not answer the specific question. This question is about most of the time that they use the technology and how much benefit it brings them when they do use it. Okay? Next one. In conclusion, I would like to say that a computer and IT are obviously useful in many sides of our life. Our life. The topic is talking about children. This is talking about our life. So, if the person who wrote this is a child, it is correct. But unfortunately, the person who wrote it is not a child. So they are overgeneralizing. However, here they become a bit more specific. So let's get rid of that because that is not relevant to the specific question. In general, nowadays children perhaps are not better educated as their parents, but more skillful in searching and using large amount of information. So, when they use it, does it bring any educational benefit? Or when they use it, most of the time it doesn't bring any educational benefit. What do they think about that? We don't know. We know that they are skillful in searching. They can search and use a large amount of information. Let me change that. However, unfortunately, they only rarely do this, and most of the time they waste playing computer games that do not help their education at all. Okay, so I've changed this conclusion. So I've got, however, unfortunately, they only rarely do this, and most of the time they waste playing computer games that do not help their education at all. So now this conclusion, yep, so most of the time they waste, and this doesn't bring them any educational benefit. So you can see, even though the writer doesn't say, I fully agree, it is very clear to the reader that the writer fully agrees. So you can say, I fully agree that. You can write this in your conclusion, and then you don't need to be afraid about whether or not you're being clear. But you don't need to write it, I fully agree. You can make it clear from your selection of words. Okay, one more. To conclude, developments in IT have brought many benefits for children's learning. Okay, good. Yet I strongly agree that serious restrictions of this process exist, and the best way to avoid them is the adult's assistance. So once again, they're talking about should parents restrict access, control access of children. It's not about that. So let's change this conclusion. I strongly agree that children tend to waste the time they spend on computers instead of using them for educational benefit. Okay. So now we have the specific question. Let's look at the topic sentences. There are several reasons why computer and IT technologies undoubtedly plays the most significant role in modern life. So this topic sentence makes no reference to children. It makes no reference to amount of time spent well. So it's not specific to the question. Next topic sentence. Children use a computer and the internet mainly for 3 purposes. So this is good. This is talking about children and how they use it. So that's okay. Later the writer could quite easily say, unfortunately, most of the time children use it for wasteful purposes. Next one, it's obvious that IT technology opens the broad opportunities for learning. Okay, that's okay, but it's still quite general, you know. learning for children. Yep. Learning for children. Yep. And they take these opportunities. So now this topic sentence, it's obvious that IT technology opens the broad opportunities for learning for children, and they take these opportunities. So I know that the writer disagrees that they do not bring any educational benefit most of the time. Okay, topic sentence 2. However, as a general rule, education is the great work, so not always but very often parents forget this obvious fact. So again, we've got parents overgeneralizing. We should be talking about children. Yeah? Very parents forget this obvious fact, as a result of which children waste their time for the most part. So don't forget, it's not do they waste their time or not. The specific question is most of the time that they use technology they wasted. Yep. Okay, next one. Social communication is inevitably vital for developing a child's social habits. Yes? But they do not realize this. Do not realize this, and therefore do not take advantage only sometimes when they are on the computer. Okay, so these are all more specific. Nevertheless, there are good reasons to be concerned about serious restrictions for educational purposes. Possibly, but once again it's talking about restrictions on IT usage, where here there's nothing at all about restrictions. It's simply about when they use technology, how do they use it most of the time? So you can see that from these 3 essays, not one conclusion answered the specific question, and not one topic sentence very specifically referred to aspects of the question. Now, you don't have to, in your topic sentence, you don't have to refer specifically to the question, but if you do, then there is less chance that your conclusion will be overgeneralized. So it's safer to do so, generally speaking.